Hi guys, welcome back to the art room. So what I wanted to go over with you today is how we will start using our watercolor palettes and setting them up and getting them ready to belong to you for the rest of the 9 weeks or semester actually. So you would be able to have your own palette. You are going to take the palette someone else used, clean it up to your liking, label it as yours, and be ready to move forward with our assignments. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the state that you find your palette in is where someone else has used this area to mix paints and paint from. These areas are still able to be used, but for you to start out with a clean surface to paint with and choose your own, and you can see that the person that used this before may have been painting from these two colors and maybe this one as well, and had kind of swiped across and got some of the little paint wells a little bit dirty. So I'm going to show you how to clean that real quick and get things labeled up. So first, what I want you to do is on the top of your palette, I'd like for you to take a piece of masking tape. Now, all I have here in my home studio right now is the blue type. Probably at school, you'll use the yellowish, brownish color. And you're going to use a Sharpie pen. I need you to write your first and your last name. And I'm going to pretend that this is first period, but whatever class period that you are in, I need you to put that number and surround it with a circle on the side. This way we can identify whose palette is whose and pass them out quickly. Okay, once you get that done, I'd like for you to know that this is not ruined, okay? So you're going to take your paper towel, dip it in your water cup, and then you will take the dampened, moistened area of the towel and just gently rub back and forth across the top of this little palette, and you'll see that there the paint color's clean, okay? So you'll need to do that on any of the areas with the tablets that you feel like could be cleaned up a little bit neater, okay? Once you do that, you're going to snap out these trays. So you have to kind of pull up. There's a little tab right here, see? Pull up and slide those out. You want to leave these at your table. And then, if there's still a piece of paper in, take this out. And I would just take this over to the sink, lightly run this underneath the water, and it should wash out. If you have any trouble, you can use your fingers to wash it out. And remember, this paint doesn't stain, so it'll wash off your hands really easily. Once you get that done, take a paper towel, dry it up really good, and bring it back to your seat. Okay, so we'll be back in just a minute to finish up with the next step. Okay, I'm back from my trip to the sink, and I have cleaned my case really good and dried it up. I've rubbed across each of my tablet or paint wells that were a little bit dirty, cleaned those up to my liking, and now I'm able to put this back together. So first, take your sheet. If you still have it, that's kind of helpful because it shows you the layout of the colors. So if for some reason you had to snap any of these out to wipe it up, you can put them back in the correct order that the manufacturer has told us they come in. So white, red, violet, blue, turquoise blue, blue green, yellow orange, and red are going to go right up here on the top. So you kind of have to bend it a little bit and put it back into place. And then this on the bottom is going to snap back in that direction. Okay, so now we have a clean palette to work with, which is exciting. And from now on, whatever Amanda does to this palette is Amanda's responsibility. So if it needs to be cleaned, you take care of that. Nobody else will be touching this palette. So it will be left. If you mix colors that you want to keep, that's also nice too, because tomorrow you can pick back up where you left off, because you know watercolors wake back up with water added. So Now I'm going to show you a little bit about how to set your area up so that as you're painting, you're not working across yourself and making drips and unnecessary marks over areas by mistake. So there's two different ways to do this, left-handed and right-handed. So I happen to be right-handed, so I'm going to show you that one first, and then we'll switch the order for the left-handed painter. All right. So a right-handed painter is going to want to have their cup of water, which, you know, in the classroom, we use mugs for this. And at home, what I have is a mason jar. So your water container is going to go on your right because the right hand is where the brush is going to be the most. You're going to want to take your palette and set it up so that your mixing area is here and your paints are to the right of you as well as that water. I like to keep my paper towel on this side as well and then pull my painting paper or my watercolor paper down in place right in front of me. Now, all the motions that I'm making with my paintbrush are going to be made from the right side of my body. So all the supplies that I need are over here on the right. This way, as I'm working and I'm cleaning, wiping on my paper towel, dipping into other colors and mixing here on my palette, things are set up for me to be a right-handed painter. Now, if you're going to be a left-handed painter, you're just simply going to switch the order. So, you're going to take everything over to the left side. And have your paper towel nearby. So your paints are on the left. Your water cup is on the left. Make sure you can see this. And so if I'm a left-handed painter, then I'm going to position myself so that all my work area is over here on the left. And I'm working on my paint paper right here in front of me. Okay? So that's the way you're going to set up your table area every day. When you come in and you get your supplies, you need to make sure you remember this. And after a little while, what's going to happen is you're not even going to consider what to do. It's just going to be a habit. You're going to know that these work best on the left or the right side of your body, depending on which hand that you paint with. All right, the next thing that I want to show you how to do properly is how to moisten these tablets so that they're ready to paint from, and at the same time not making a soupy mess out of your palette. So you're going to take your brush and dip it down in the water and get it really wet. You're going to want to drop a couple of drops of water on top of that tablet. Okay, and so this way the colors that you're about to use can be moistened. Now I just randomly did these 4, but if you were going to use different ones, you would just go ahead and wet the ones that you know you're going to be using in the next few minutes. If you touch the red while you're doing this, the red paint is here, so you wouldn't want to directly touch the orange because then it would mix those colors inside the orange well. So you would want to rinse by swishing your brush along the bottom of the cup and then applying clean water to the orange. Okay, so now that I've got this wet and ready to go, I'm swishing my brush around, and then I can take some of this red over to this area, clean my brush, then mixing around the new water on top of the orange paint. I can now take some orange and say in the center, I can mix both of these together to get a red orange that I want to use. Okay. Then I'm ready to come over to my paper and apply the paint where I'm going to be painting. Okay. So now, let's say I've been painting for a while, you know, and I've got my orange and my red like I needed, and I need to switch into, say, let's go to a blue. Oh, that's a blue violet. That's one reason why I kind of like to have these, because sometimes when they're dry, it's hard to see for sure what color it is until you put it over here in your palette mixing area. So there's your turquoise. This one's your blue, and this one's your blue violet. So when I'm mixing with these and applying the paint onto my paper, see how those colors blend from one area to the next if they touch each other. That's what's going to happen. But what's also going to happen over here is the more you're using different colors and swishing through your water's going to start getting really dirty. And at some point, you're going to need to probably set your brush down, carefully take your cup of water and go wash out the cup and then put in a half a cup of fresh water. I always want you to use half a cup of fresh water, because if you use it all the way to the top, somebody's going to push the table around a little bit, or if you knock it just a little bit, it's going to be more likely to swish out onto the tabletop. So if you do half a cup, you've got plenty of water to work with, and then you can continue to paint when you come back and use it to not make such a mess by only having half a cup. All right, now, so I've been painting for a while. It's time to go, okay? So when that 5-minute mark goes off on our clock on the screen and tells us that we have 5 minutes left, it's time to clean up. That means these things have to be put away in the right place. So returning supplies means that you're going to have some cleanup to do. There's several things you can do, and if I were you, before I stand up and go, I would just look around the room and see where are less people. So if less people are at the drying rack, then first I would pick up my painting and see if it's really wet like this. You're going to have to be very careful that you hold it flat and you carry it like a pizza over to the drying rack, place it there, and then come back to your seat, and then you'll need to take your brush and your water cup over to the sink. I need you to wash this under the running water, okay, and really get the brush clean. Don't think that cleaning this here makes it clean, because more than likely your water's going to be much dirtier than this. That means the bristles are going to still be dirty. The next person coming in to use this brush may not want to paint blue, and there's some blue paint left in these bristles. That's going to mess up their painting. So make sure you wash this under the running water at the sink. You'll need to pour this water out, swish clean water in it, and pour it out again. And then you'll need to set this cup into the drawer right beside the sink where we keep our mugs. Okay? The last step you'll need to do, oh, and I forgot to mention, when you put your brush away into the brush cup, make sure the stick goes down and the hair goes up. That way the brush can dry with the right shape in the hair. Okay, your trash is going to go in the trash can, but before you do that, I want you to check your palette really good, because areas that are really wet with water, you ought to sop up the water, soak it up into your paper towel and clean areas. And you don't have to like have this completely clean, but you just want to get the running water off of it so that when you close it, it's not muddying up all the paints. Tomorrow when you come into class, this will be dried paint, and you can wake that mixture that you made up again with your clean brush and start working again where you left off. Okay, so this palette will go in the tub labeled for your class period, and tomorrow we can pass them out straight from there. Okay, be sure you throw away your trash, make sure your area is dry and clean, and then you're ready to change to the next class period. So now you know what kind of setup we need to do as a class to help make ourselves successful watercolor painters. And from here on out, we'll be talking about a lot of different techniques so you can learn some skills that watercolor painters use.